At the beginning of 2026, something subtle but impossible to ignore has captured the attention of fans and industry observers alike. Jungkook is quieter. There are no dramatic announcements, no sudden controversies, no constant stream of public appearances. Yet, despite this reduced visibility, his name continues to dominate conversations, trend across platforms, and appear in serious discussions about the future of global pop. This contrast has sparked a growing question. Is Jungkook intentionally stepping back from public exposure to redefine his artistic identity in 2026? While no official statement confirms such a strategy, the pattern itself invites analysis. In an industry where constant visibility is often mistaken for relevance, Jungkook's quiet presence may represent something far more deliberate. It is important to clarify one point from the beginning. Jungkook has not disappeared. His music continues to circulate globally, his name remains embedded in industry discussions, fan engagement shows no signs of decline. What has changed is frequency, not presence. Observers note that Jungkook's public appearances and direct communications have become more selective. This shift aligns with strategies often adopted by established global artists who have moved beyond the need for constant exposure. In this context, Jungkook's quieter profile does not signal retreat, it suggests recalibration. Within the global music industry, there is a well-documented pattern. Artists who reach a certain level of recognition often reduce visibility to preserve impact. Constant exposure can dilute mystique. Silence, when intentional, can sharpen focus. Artists who employ this approach allow their work and reputation to speak louder than promotional cycles. Jungkook's continued influence at the start of 2026 fits this model closely. Despite fewer appearances, his name remains relevant. That persistence suggests strategic restraint rather than disengagement. Jungkook's career trajectory offers critical context for understanding this phase. He debuted young, grew under relentless public attention, and later established himself as a globally successful solo artist. Few performers experience such sustained visibility so early in life. As artists mature, many reassess how they wish to be seen, not just as performers, but as creators. Jungkook's reduced exposure may reflect a desire to shift focus from image to artistry. This evolution does not erase his past identity, it builds upon it. Fan reactions to Jungkook's quieter presence have been notably measured. Rather than panic or frustration, much of the discourse reflects curiosity and trust. Many fans interpret the silence as preparation rather than absence. Discussions emphasize patience, artistic respect, and long-term vision. This shift in fan perspective mirrors Jungkook's own growth and suggests a shared understanding between artist and audience. In a culture often driven by immediacy, this patience is significant. Perhaps the strongest argument for intentional restraint lies in Jungkook's sustained influence. At the start of 2026, he continues to be cited in discussions about global pop trends, artistic impact, and cultural relevance. This influence persists without constant reminders of his presence. Such durability is rare. It suggests that Jungkook has reached a stage where visibility is no longer required to maintain relevance, only meaning. In the global music industry, periods of silence often precede reinvention. For artists who have reached a certain level of recognition, constant exposure can become a limitation rather than an advantage. Stepping back allows space for reflection, experimentation, and recalibration. This pattern has been observed repeatedly across generations of global performers. Jungkook's quieter public presence in early 2026 fits this long-established rhythm. Rather than signaling inactivity, it may indicate a phase of internal creative work, one that does not require public validation at every step. In this sense, silence becomes preparation. We live in an era where artists are expected to be constantly visible through social media updates, live streams, interviews, and behind-the-scenes content. Oversharing has become normalized. Against this backdrop, Jungkook's restraint stands out. Choosing not to engage continuously can be a strategic decision, especially for an artist whose presence already carries weight. By limiting exposure, Jungkook preserves anticipation and allows meaning to accumulate rather than dissipate. In a digital environment saturated with noise, silence becomes a form of authorship. The absence of constant updates has not diminished expectations, it has intensified them. Fans and industry observers are not asking whether Jungkook will return with something new, but how that return will manifest. This shift in questioning reflects confidence in his artistic direction. Expectation, when built through restraint, carries more emotional and cultural weight than hype generated through repetition. Jungkook's quiet phase has become a canvas onto which audiences project curiosity rather than doubt. Behind every strategic decision lies a human reality. Constant visibility places psychological demands on artists, demands that can affect creativity, identity, and well-being. For someone like Jungkook, who has lived much of his life under public scrutiny, stepping back may also be an act of self-preservation. Reducing exposure allows for boundaries. It allows an artist to reconnect with purpose beyond performance. In this context, Jungkook's silence can be interpreted not as withdrawal, but as balance. January 2026 feels less like a pause and more like a threshold. Jungkook stands at a point where past achievements no longer define future possibilities. His influence is secure, his identity is established. What remains is choice. This moment offers the freedom to redefine direction, not out of necessity, but out of intention. If 2026 becomes a turning point, it will not be because of external pressure, but because of internal readiness. One of the most compelling indicators of Jungkook's artistic stature is the persistence of his influence. Despite limited public engagement, his name continues to appear in discussions about global pop trends, artistic credibility, and cultural relevance. This suggests that his work has moved beyond the need for constant reinforcement. Influence that endures without promotion is a marker of legacy in formation. As Jungkook's public rhythm changes, so does fan culture. Conversations increasingly emphasize respect for process, patience, and long-term vision. Fans discuss artistry rather than immediacy, meaning rather than metrics. This evolution reflects a mutual growth between artist and audience, one where trust replaces urgency. Importantly, redefining artistic identity does not require erasing history. Jungkook's quieter phase does not negate his past roles as performer, idol, or global pop figure. Instead, it reframes them within a broader narrative of growth. Identity, in this sense, becomes layered rather than replaced. Visibility and impact are often conflated, but they are not the same. Jungkook's current phase illustrates how impact can exist independently of exposure. His work continues to resonate because it has already embedded itself into global pop culture. This separation allows future appearances or releases to carry more significance when they arrive. Within the industry, silence is rarely ignored. Observers interpret Jungkook's restraint as a sign of confidence. Artists who feel secure in their position do not rush to assert relevance, they allow it to persist naturally. This reading positions Jungkook not as someone fading from view, but as someone choosing timing over urgency. Anticipation is one of the most powerful assets an artist can cultivate. By not revealing intentions prematurely, Jungkook allows anticipation to build organically. This anticipation is not manufactured, it is sustained by trust. When the next chapter arrives, it will be met not with curiosity alone, but with readiness. It is crucial to distinguish silence from invisibility. Jungkook's presence remains deeply felt through music, cultural reference, and global discussion. His silence is selective, not absolute. This distinction reinforces the idea that his reduced exposure is intentional rather than circumstantial. Control in the modern music industry often involves reclaiming pace. By choosing when and how to appear, Jungkook exercises control over narrative rather than reacting to external expectations. This autonomy marks a mature stage of artistry. While speculation remains just that, the patterns suggest preparation rather than retreat. Artists rarely step back without purpose. Jungkook's silence suggests alignment between intention, timing, and identity. Whatever comes next will likely reflect this alignment. At the start of 2026, Jungkook's reduced public exposure speaks volumes. It suggests confidence without announcement, direction without declaration, identity without explanation. In a world where artists are expected to constantly speak, Jungkook's silence becomes a statement of authorship. Not an ending, not a disappearance, but a pause charged with intention. Jungkook's silence does not exist in isolation. It unfolds within a rapidly shifting global music landscape. In 2026, the industry is experiencing saturation, endless releases, accelerated promotional cycles, and shortened attention spans. Artists compete not only with each other, but with algorithms, trends, and constant content churn. Against this backdrop, Jungkook's restraint becomes even more striking. His timing is not reactive. It does not chase trends. Instead, it resists them. This resistance positions him differently, not as a participant in the race, but as a figure who can slow the pace simply by waiting. Global status is not just privilege, it is responsibility. Every move Jungkook makes now is interpreted not as an experiment, but as a statement. Expectations are heavier, reactions are faster, and missteps are magnified. Silence, in this context, becomes a protective measure. It allows space to shape ideas fully before exposing them to scrutiny. It allows intention to solidify before interpretation begins. This is not hesitation, it is preparation under pressure. One of the most notable shifts during this phase is the role fans have taken on. Rather than demanding updates, many fans now actively defend Jungkook's right to rest, privacy, and creative autonomy. Online discourse increasingly pushes back against invasive speculation, reframing patience as loyalty. This transformation is significant. It suggests that Jungkook's evolution is happening alone. His audience is evolving with him. In modern pop culture, that alignment is rare.